guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in no game. Today we're actually just going to have a conversation. Now this is something that I don't get the opportunity to do too much on my main YouTube channel, so I figured here it'd be a good spot to, especially if it's community relevant, if it's Raid Shadow Legends relevant in any way, which it is. It's actually, in case you've missed all the other YouTube channels or the Reddit post or whatever about the drama with Cartman and receiving a free legendary champion after raging for not pulling it on his stream. We'll get a little bit into that, but I'm going to link like 4 or 5 YouTube videos in the description below if you really want to kind of go ahead and kind of wade into all of that drama. Actually, a few Raid Shadow Legends YouTubers did a really good kind of synopsis on that whole situation. We won't be diving too deep into that because I want to focus on the larger question in today's video. Should developers be giving away free stuff to content creators? This might not sound like a big question to you guys, but I'm going to give you a story of why it is a really big issue. And when I say it might not sound big, is some of you might be, taking the attitude of who cares, like they want to give some legendary champion to a content creator. What's the big deal? Honestly, I'm going to give you an example of why this can be a really big deal, and I'm going to use another name without naming that name that I was actually a part of, and tell how awful situations like this can actually get and how incredibly unethical situations like this can snowball and get way out of control. Okay, so it is a big issue, even though there's only whatever a dozen or so content creators in Raid Shadow Legends who are active and posting daily or bi-daily. It can be a really big issue. So that's why I'm going to give my opinion on that. But first, a little bit of background on me is that I've been YouTubing now for over 6 years, and I've helped about half a dozen developers create their influencer programs. So all of the content creators kind of building out the strategy, how we want to engage, interact, and reward, incentivize content creators. I did that for Supercell, amongst many other games. I also worked at Tencent for just under 2 years when we launched Arena of Valor in North America, Latin America, and EU. That was a few years ago. I no longer do that, but I helped build that influencer program as well at Tencent. So one of my, let's just rewind a little bit to the Cartman thing. So basically, Plarium they said they promised to give him a reward when he cleared all of the faction crypts in the game. They were going to make him a champion or something. They never did. Months went by, and then after randomly during the Foley event, when he wasn't Dracomorph rather. Why do I keep saying Foley? I apologize. During the Draco event, they ended up giving him a Draco, right? He was suddenly there inside his champion collection as a gift from Plarium, essentially in hindsight, for a reward for those faction crypts a few months ago. So, I think this is, whether or not it was for the faction crypts or whatever, that's irrelevant to me. It's more about Plarium just giving handouts to content creators, right? So we'll talk about why that's a bad thing, in my opinion. First of all, no offense to Cartman. I've never seen his content. He's a Russian YouTuber. But this is not here to take shots at anybody. I think that I see people like mass disliking his content. I did check out his YouTube channel yesterday. I don't think that's really necessary. I don't think it's necessarily his fault that he was given something for free. Anyway, moving on. The other story of what happened that was awful. It was a game very similar to Raid Shadow Legends that I was a part of. I wasn't helping, I wasn't consulting or working on the team. I was just a content creator covering the game, similar to how I am with Raid Shadow Legends, kind of a small content creator who actually enjoyed the game, and I was playing it and making a few YouTube videos on it, non-sponsored. And what ended up happening was essentially the developer was using YouTubers as kind of conduits to get tons more spending in the game by giving them a bunch of free resources. So let me go ahead and put this in more layman's terms, a practical example. Let's say this is a game that had wars against each other. So like your guild against my guild, or something like that. Your clan against my clan. What they would do is they would inject a YouTuber in one clan with maybe $10,000 worth of in-game rewards in just one single handout. And then that would cause the entire other clan or guild or whatever to have to spend money in order to keep up with them. And this was a game where wars took like a day or so, right? And this would happen again and again and again. And eventually they were exposed. And this is how a situation like this can snowball. And they still do it, by the way. That's the worst thing, right? And this is how situations like this can snowball. Sure, one YouTuber gets a free legendary champion. Doesn't sound like that big of a deal, right? But the problem is, if they make a habit of giving out legendary champions during events, tournaments, stuff like that, they will actually affect everybody else's spending by giving that one free asset out to a content creator. Not only is it unfair for the content creator to get a Dracomorph when we're all pulling, you know, not just me, but you guys and other content creators and everybody, we're spending, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars on this game, just dying, hoping, praying to get one of these super rare, super good legendary champions. And it really harms the competitive integrity, the veracity of the game when they're just given out randomly. Because, of course, unfair advantage skews the economy, and honestly, it's just unethical and unfair to do. Now, that being said, even small handouts, I think, are... again, not that big of a deal. Okay, oh, you want a couple chickens? And by the way, I've been given a couple chickens in the past when I did video sponsor content for Raid Shadow Legends as well. But when they make a habit of giving a few extra silver, few extra chickens, few extra champions to content creators, I feel like you are going down a deep and dark path that gets really close to snowballing into something worse. Now, should content creators be rewarded? Of course they should. Every game that I've been a part of that's been incredibly successful, they've been given access to a developer build of the game. It's not that big of a deal. You download a special app, you authorize that app to be used on your iPhone or your Android device, you set the security clearances, and then boom, they update it on their end from the developer, and you're able to play the next version of the game or any version of the game that they deem appropriate for a content creator to play. Now, why is that a really cool idea? Because we, as content creators, we could cover every champion, whether we have them or not. We could max them out, we could test them out, and we could review them for you guys without affecting the competitive integrity of this game, because it wouldn't be in real life. It would be on kind of a test server. So I think that is a really happy medium. That way content creators get a special perk. It helps Plarium because we're highlighting their game, but yet everybody else is not affected. You don't have the feeling that I'm spending thousands on this game and this dude's getting a $10,000 legendary champion. You know, it's just not fair. It's not good. Now, with all that said, I don't want to come down too hard on Plarium here because they're just trying to help out content creators, and I think it's coming from a good place. I don't think, unlike that other company, they have this nefarious plan of injecting, by giving rewards here and there, that it's going to inject tons of cash from other players into their own pockets and line their coffers even more. I don't really think that's the case, honestly. I just don't, and I might be wrong, but I don't think it's coming from a malicious place right now. However, these things can really quickly escalate and get out of control. Another thing I will mention is affiliate codes. Affiliate codes are really nice. It gives content creators, it supports the game because people spend money using affiliate codes in the game, supports the developer, supports Plarium. It also is really nice because it gives back to your favorite content creator. You use their code and they get a little cut of anything that you were going to spend in the game anyway. It's a nice way to help them out, and that actually gives them an advantage. It gives them money to choose to spend on the game, but without affecting, again, the competitive integrity of the in-game economy. And I feel like that is a much safer way to reward content creators than just handing them their favorite legendary champion. So these are all kind of my thoughts on this whole situation, and I really think this goes across the board to every mobile game, to every game out there. Affiliate codes in developer builds, practice, or developer servers are an amazing way to reward content creators and allow them to show your game in its best form, in its best light. However, giving out free things in game to anybody, whether you're the biggest whale, whether you're, whatever, other than like brand new players as a download perk, it's not a good route to go, honestly. If you want to make in-game rewards, make them even for everybody. If you want to give out free Dracomorphs, then give out free Dracomorphs to everybody. That's it. If you want to give out free Dracomorphs to people who spend $500 or $1,000, then give them to that. Don't give them just to one content creator. Even if it was allegedly for some old thing that they won, be very, very, very transparent and don't choose a Dracomorph event to gift them a free Dracomorph. You know, it's not a good look, unfortunately. But I do think from all their communication, they've definitely learned a lesson here. So I'm not super worried in Raid Shadow Legends. I'm optimistic for the future. However, it is something that I feel like is important for every game, as I said. Last thing I want to mention in this video before I go too long with my rambling is paid advertisement. I would be remiss if I did not mention just advertising, paying content creators to cover their game, because it's a huge part of the marketing strategy for Plarium, for Raid Shadow Legends, and I also have benefited from this. I've done a bunch of paid advertising on Raid Shadow Legends on my main YouTube channel. This channel is not paid. I love the game, otherwise I wouldn't be here, but I also can speak my mind and be honest with you guys in situations like this video. So why is advertising okay, Ash? Come on, man. Well, advertising is really good. I think it helps out, first of all content creators, because it brings more players into the game and thus giving us a higher ceiling of audience potential eyeballs on our content. So when Phil DeFranco is sharing download Raid Shadow Legends, you beautiful bastards, well, that actually brings more players into the game, thus is a good thing for everybody. Now, for content creators, from our perspective, it's also really good, people advertising it, because we have to make a living too, and Google ad revenue sometimes doesn't, it's unreliable, and it's a great way to actually make money for us, while at the same time leveraging our own audience, sharing games that we actually enjoy. Again, I actually enjoy this game, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it here on the channel. Even games like Supercell, every developer pretty much pays content creators to cover their game. Supercell did, you know, $1 million plus campaign with Ninja and Shroud and Tim the Tatman and a bunch of other content creators for Brawl Stars. You see this all over the place. I don't think there's anything wrong inherently with paying big content creators to advertise their game. That said, I would like to see an affiliate program or something a little bit more other than free in-game handouts to existing content creators to kind of scratch their back a little bit too, because these guys and girls, are there any female Raid content creators? Let me know if you know of any. Anyway, these people do a lot for the community and they ought to be thanked for it, just not with free legendary champions. So guys, what are your opinions on this? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and as always, take care, guys.